And I'm sure it makes you feel really good. That is right. Really good. So then, out of that goodness, please join me in our praise song. Oh, what a beautiful morning. As we bring that same energy to the prayer of our center. The Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ peace, love, and joy emanate to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and the glory forever. And so it is. Please be seated now as I light the candle. I light this candle for the youth expressing in each of us, but especially for our young ones. Let us behold Christ in them. There's a blessing here for our children. Join me, please. We love you. We appreciate you. We salute the Christ in you, and we see you shining lights onto your world. God is blessing you now. So it is. So we join together now in the Temple of our mission song, found on page 3 at the bottom of the page. temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one in spirit, on a mission, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day. The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one in spirit, on a mission, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us, anytime, night or day.
So now, let me share with you the announcement for Sunday, August 20, today. Dennis, welcome. As we welcome you, we also welcome everyone who is joining us on our live stream. Wherever you are, we are so happy that you have taken the time to share with us this morning. And so let me ask now if there are any first-time guests worshiping with us in person this morning here in our center. I'm not seeing anyone. We are all old-timers. We are happy to be here. And perhaps what you could do is turn to the person next to you and say, I'm so happy to be here with you this morning. Good morning. Okay, so now, let us acknowledge these beautiful flowers that were beautifully arranged by Connie Nugent as a gift to the family of our beloved Auntie Dorothy, whose Thanksgiving we celebrated on Friday last, August 18th. Thank you, Denise and Brian. Those are her children. So what we've done, the significant events of this temple are in the flyer, on a flyer in your program. And you can take this home, but I'll bring these other activities to your attention so you know they're special. So on Tuesday evenings, 6 o'clock, join practitioner Yvonne Chang Oliver at our spiritual mind healing service at 6 o'clock. Did I say that? It will be an evening of contemplation, quiet contemplation of spiritual principles, and the link will be shared through your email. Make sure that if you're not seeing it, you contact the office to get you on that mailing list. And then we have Thanksgiving services, and this week, and I ask you to remember in your prayers the family of Mrs. Jeanette Polak, whose Thanksgiving service is on August 24 at 1 p.m. right here. And your love and prayer support for Doreen and Anna Bethune, whose dad has recently made his transition. October 27 to 29, 2023. What's so special about those dates? Well, it's our Masterclass 2023, which is going to be at Jewel Paradise Cove in Runaway Bay, St. Anne. Make sure you're there. The cost is US $465 per person for double occupancy. approximately 75,000 Jamaican, and US dollars 678 for single occupancy or its equivalent in Jamaican dollars. Transportation, class materials, and other gratuities at this all-inclusive resort are included in the amounts just quoted. And please go to the office and make your deposit and set up a timely payment arrangement. Our speaker is Dr. Dennis Merritt Jones, a renowned author. The themes are brilliant and inspired. You should not miss this. The weekend is under the banner of creating a life of abundance filled with purpose and meaning. I'll say it again, creating a life of abundance filled with purpose and meaning. So prepare to come, play, awaken, deepen, grow, and learn to thrive. It's happening right here at the Temple of Light. It's sponsored by the Temple of Light at Jewels. So classes now for September. Reverend Sonia, practitioners Vance and Steve, have a special cohort geared for those who are interested in the livingness of the Bible using the parables of the master teacher, Jesus the Christ. The details will be published later. And then now, on September 24, it's a Sunday, and it will be at 5 p.m., the 7th Poetry, Prose, and Rhythms in the Garden will take place. This year, the event is dubbed Playing, Peace, Love, and Youth in the Garden, and will feature words and music by renowned performers. The net proceeds will contribute to acquiring musical instruments for youth ministry and enhancing the ambience of the meditation garden. So, put the date in your diary, alert your family and friends, and stay tuned for more information. Now, prayer support, we continue always to respond to all your requests for prayer. And there's always a practitioner available to pray with you immediately following our Sunday service. This morning, it is practitioner Steve Golding on duty, and the number is 876-289-0907. If you want to speak to a practitioner, or a minister, you may also call this number anytime from 8 a.m. to midnight, Monday to Friday. Pastoring counseling is always available. Please call the office for appointments. And finally, we are always grateful for your generosity. And we thank you so much for helping us to continue to be a beacon of light in the world. And if you may wish to continue to support our ministry financially, kindly visit the donate page at donate.templeoflightcsl.org, which has our banking details. Thank you so much again. We support a world that works for everyone. And so I think this is the end of the announcements, and I'm going to ask you now to join me in the first hymn, which is on the flyer, and it's titled, "You Can Smile."
You can smile anytime, anywhere.
is the moment you're waiting for. Our speaker this morning, as I told you before, is Reverend Sonia, who will bring to you a message to inspire you to experience more and more good, more and more of God. Open your hearts, your minds, your ears, and listen.
Good morning, everyone in the sanctuary and on the, help me, the World Wide Web. And thank you, Carol, for so ably setting the tone for this service this morning. Isn't it wonderful to have our guest? Jamaican hand. Thank you, Carol. Well, just as a little aperitif for my talk, I would want everybody to affirm with me, I am a blessing to this world. Together, I am a blessing to this world. Because indeed, every single one of us is a blessing in our own way, wherever we may be, whether it is in small circles or ever-expanding circles. We are each a blessing to this world. And we are proving it every day, and that's something I would like you to say to yourself every day that you are aware of it, and every day that you wake up. I am a blessing to this world, because the world you bless blesses you. Right back. Now, this is very important for us to know this, because we are in a world right now where the desire for peace seems to be more dominantly expressed than any time that I can remember in my quite long lifetime. Having been born the very day that the Second World War ended, I was not around when there was more lively proclamations of desire for peace. There was celebration that, wow, we have peace. I would dare to say that peace is perhaps the most cherished and desired feeling that anyone, and it's a feeling, and it manifests in various ways in our lives. But I would dare to say that even when people say, wow, you know, I want prosperity, if I just have enough money, I'd feel peaceful, if I just have the right relationship, if these children would just stop bothering me, if the people on the road would just drive more carefully when I'm going to work, I'd be at peace, and if. But peace is always where we are, right where we are. And guess what? No one can access it but us. We have to know it, declare it, believe it, and reach within for it. Ralph Waldo Emerson, famous American philosopher, said, "Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. Nothing can bring you peace but the triumph of principle." I would have loved if that was put in bold print and put before all of the various places where world leaders meet, starting at the very home of Ralph Waldo Emerson. Wherever they meet, remember, nothing can bring you peace but yourself. Nothing can bring you peace but the triumph of what? Principle. And principle is life force that created each one of us out of itself, accessible to everyone. And you know, of course, our beloved Marcus Garvey. What did he say? Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but yourself can free your mind. And when your mind is free, your mind will find peace, right? A very old book, one of the books that I read first, could be the first one that I read when I came to this church, first Science of Mind book, by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Sorry, by Jack Ensign. Addington, okay? And the book was Psychogenesis. Everything begins in mind. He said the word peace is derived from the Latin pacere, right? Not passere, pacere. And it means to make an agreement. In other words, to exercise a choice. So peace is really a choice that we make, regardless of the circumstances that we face. And he said, when we have made that decision to act in a certain way, then our mind opens up and we find the right words, the right action. And he said to be centered in peace is to do what? To make an agreement with life. You have to agree with the thing that confronts you, which would seem to be disturbing to you. Not agree with what is being said, but agree that within that person that experienced that thing is that same center of peace which is within you. And he said, when you take that decision, then you find that there's a sense of calm. There's a sense of harmony in your life and around you and inside of you, which you then recognize, and maybe you call it peace, but it's of your own making. How you begin to perceive the world and how the world begins to respond to you. And the world, as I say, might be the one person in front of you at the moment when you are impelled to argue with them because you know you're right and they are not right. Even though they maybe are right, you find out later on and you were wrong. But when you make peace with a situation, the light shines and everybody leaves feeling satisfied. Jesus himself said, John 14, chapter 14, verse 27, peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give you peace as the world gives. Do not let your heart be troubled. Do not be afraid. You see, Jesus spent his whole life trying to explain to people how to find that peace. And he's saying, I have found it. I can show you. And you will feel it when you look at what I am saying and doing. Go within. In our science of mind, we know that peace is the presence of God made manifest. Yes, it is the presence of God made manifest. Each of us must find it for ourselves before we can give it to another. Addington. And Addington goes on to say the opposite of peace is conflict, inner conflict, that stems from resistance of one sort or another. Resisting people, situations, circumstances, ideas. Resistance brings turmoil, chaos, resulting in stress into the life of the one who entertains it. Therefore, we must find an antidote for resistance if we are ever to find lasting peace, he says. Resistance is the greatest enemy of peace. Jack Addington. How many countries do you know that are currently embroiled in resistance that have found peace? Tell me. Think about it. We have been resisting. What have we been resisting in our country? Violence. As long as I can remember, we have been putting out all kinds of plans for how we resist violence. Lock them up, whatever, what do you call them? You have something like that. Special arrangements of the police. Lockdown, all kind of things, right? And guess what? We're still resisting, right? Peace within. There is one particular place that has demonstrated so beautiful. It's a school that had so much going on. Really, the young people, especially the boys, they wouldn't study. They were outside. They were fighting each other, all kinds of things. And the police had to be called in repeatedly to deal with them. And this very progressive teacher, principal, heard of a thing called quiet time. And she introduced this into the school. Just quiet time, just for the children to be still. It originated in, well, I can say this, a form of mental practice, mindfulness practice, called TM, but introducing it into our culture, it was strange, so it was adapted for our culture, and it was called quiet time. And in no time at all, the people, the young boys who were outside fighting, just being still. We have Yvonne here, who is one of the facilitators of this program, will tell you. They stopped fighting each other. They started to come in out of curiosity. They started to learn. The police had to come to find out what happened. Nobody's calling them what happened if they can't get through to them, right? Peace, peace, found just by being mindful and going within. So when we cease to try forcing life to do our bidding and start agreeing with the creative principle, we will find ways to live a creative life. Believe in the presence of good in every situation. Find the good. Let it find you. In other words, find something good in every situation. You don't even have to find it. Just believe in the presence of good. And everywhere, equally. It must be, because God is everywhere equally and evenly. So it must be there, for God is the goodness that we know. And guess what? It will find you. And if in the moment, I'll excuse you if you have to search for it, but it will find you with practice. When you believe with certainty that the presence of good is everywhere, it will find you. So, agree with the life principle, agree with life, agree with love, agree with beauty, wisdom, power, peace, agree, agree, agree. And it is at this point I met a story. I met it because I go into YouTube so often. There is a interesting, in some ways the internet is the law of mind in action, you know. Because once you keep going into the internet, it finds the things you are interested in, right? And it attracts it to you, right? So be careful what you click when you go into the internet. Well, no, don't be careful. It's telling you, giving you feedback as to what you like. So I saw this story about a lady, and I'm not giving her name until the end. This lady, when telling her story, was 102 years old. Vibrant, young, articulate, funny, and very candid, what people call authentic. I watched this interview. I had intended just to watch it for a little bit. 1 hour later, I was still watching it. This is her story, how she started. 46 years of marriage. A marriage that was typified by partnership in business. Many businesses were created, some of them still exist. A marriage that where her husband went with her, or they went together climbing mountains, visiting all kinds of places, traveling together, actually having 6 children together, just having a wonderful, wonderful partnership. And then, guess what happens? One day, she received a letter from her husband. This is a lady. Saying that he wanted a divorce. Right? He didn't ask for a divorce, he wanted a divorce. And the same letter that he wrote to the wife, he also wrote it to his children, identical words, and to his business partnership. Well, I don't know what you people would do. Can't tell you, but I thought that was very, very interesting. Let's say, interesting. So she was so stunned because she said she could not think of anything in that marriage that could have justified that. She felt happy she thought he appeared to be happy. And so she was shocked, confused, and stunned. And she just drove and drove for a couple of hours, stopped the car, and howled, bawled and bawled and bawled. And after she had bawled for a while, suddenly it came to her. This is the day that the Lord hath made. I rejoice and be glad in it. This is the point that I'll tell you. She went home, and the next day she changed her license plate to let us be glad. Be glad. No, to be glad. Guess what? Her name was Gladys. So she said, how appropriate. It said, be glad. But she wasn't over yet. She said she really wanted to know what it was like to be in his shoe. So she decided to put on his slippers. And she walked around in it for 24 hours, thinking about him, wanting to understand his point of view. So the interviewer said, what was it like to walk in his shoe? And she laughed and said, what did you learn? She said, that it didn't fit me, right? And she is such a funny lady. All right, so when she was over with all of that, she started to give herself some serious talk. Serious talk. She made a decision then and there how she would spend her life. Remember Addington's advice? Make a pact with life. No resistance, only peace. You get it? So the rest of her story is a fascinating example of how non-resistance pays off, not only for her, but for the world. She was telling this story of triumph 24 years later. It actually was after 46 years of marriage. So she was telling the story 24 years later, when she was 102. Remember? By that time, she had moved on. There was no fight, no struggle. She had made a pact with life to search for the answers within, and her discovery have resulted in a blessing, as I said, to humanity and to the medical fraternity. She was a doctor, so was her husband. She was the daughter of doctors as well. You following me? So, she decided to look on all of the experiences that she had had with her husband, the partnership, the relationships, and all the beautiful things she has done, not as a loss, but as something that had been part of a wonderful life. Can you imagine that? She reclaimed the joy in it, the joy that she had begun, she had had. And then she began looking for joy and stopped looking at pain. Looking for joy and not looking at pain. Eventually, she was looking at joy and not at pain. She said, I began to focus on what I had, not what I had had. That's not what she was focusing on. Losing. She wasn't focused on what she was losing. And even not on what she had had, but on the joy that she had. And that joy could not be taken away from her because memories last, right? A lifetime. She discovered that she had doubted her true ability in her professional relationship. She said because she remembered now that she had been dyslexic as a child. She had learned to get over it with a teacher who made her feel special by giving her positions of leadership when the other children would probably mock her. she was given positions of leadership. It didn't change her doubting of her academic abilities, but it made her feel more confident as a person. She realized that in the partnership with her husband, she had done brilliant work, which she, in fact, kept giving to her husband to validate. She, in fact, was always looking to not only him, but other people to validate what she had done. She said she was not giving her work a voice. And she said, no, she had to find her voice. And she did. She said, I began saying what I wanted to say. I didn't need anyone to validate me. Her breakthrough came, she was working on herself all the time, knowing that she was enough. But her breakthrough came in a dream in which Jesus played a very important part. She said that she grew up in a situation where she was not allowed to sing certain songs on Sunday. Her parents were religious. And so she grew up feeling always restricted as to what she could do when. And in the dream, she said she climbed a tree. She hid from her brother and climbed a tree, because her brother was a little tattletale, her younger brother. And in the dream, she climbed up in a tree. And she was singing her heart out, every song that she wanted to sing. And then she said she saw what she thought was the form of Jesus. And Jesus was laughing and laughing at her singing. So she said she was thinking of herself as a little child. And she said to Jesus, Jesus loves little children, doesn't Jesus? And she said, Jesus laughed her head up. And so she sang for the more, every song she could think of. She felt liberated. She felt free. And she was just singing and singing. She never stopped singing. And she said, well, if Jesus likes my singing, who is anybody to stop me from singing, right? She was a devout Christian. So she came down. And after that, she began to use her voice more. Her voice was important, she said, and reclaiming that voice was huge. She began to use her voice and stop devaluing it. In the process of devaluing her voice, she said she had devalued herself as a person, her uniqueness. So she started to give advice, which has come out in many, many books. I counted on Amazon, and there are 8 current books that she has written. She said, how to believe in your voice. Says life will heal. Believe that life will heal. But healing comes from within each one of us. Sound like sense of mind, right? Pay attention to your dreams. And she didn't just mean dream. You know, that kind of dream when you're sleeping. The things that you really desire, the things that are prodding you and pushing you and saying, do, right? She says, look back too at all that you have been affirming. Because you may have the dreams, but you may have been affirming some things which denies the dreams. So pay attention to that too. And she says, ask yourself, do you feel gratitude for what you have done in life so far? She says, her daughter once said to her, Mom, you dwell in gratitude. You dwell in gratitude, when somebody else was affirming her when she didn't even think about it. And she said, yes, that is true. She dwells in gratitude, right? Find something in your life. Nobody has lived a life and cannot find many things that you are proud of and you feel grateful for, that have come to you once when I can't remember, when I was probably about 40. I came to this church and said, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to sit in the prayer room and I'm going to stay there for a few minutes and I'm going to write what I'm grateful for. Guess what? 4 hours later, I was still here writing what I was grateful for, because it took me back the process took me back to the earliest memories that I could have. Grateful for being born in Jamaica, being born when I was born with the parents and so on, and it came flooding. Allow the floodgates of gratitude to open up for you. You don't have to think. Once you start intending to be grateful, it just keeps coming. And do you know that once you have done that exercise, it lives with you? It lives with you at backdrop of any little feeling that you might have of not feeling so good. So she said, feel a connection with life. Right? She says, find that if you're really feeling down, find anything, a dog, a plant, anything, and watch it grow. I got a nice, very nice spinach plant, right, from one of our congregants who I'm looking at. And it was planted, and it's just growing, and I'm just enjoying seeing it grow and knowing that it's growing in my own little pot that I have, and it feeds me. I get over and over. It feels good to know that I am connecting with that life force. And she says, love is a powerful medicine, right? Think about it. Love is very important. Cultivate love. She says to overcome fear, you must turn your attention to love. Love will come and just chase away the fear. Find the light in the darkness, she says. If you're looking for it, you will find it. Remember, I said, if you're looking for the good, you'll find it. You are never alone. Loneliness is a state of mind. Feel and know that you're never alone. How could you be? You are the presence of God made manifest. And that will take form in your consciousness or in person at any time. Cherish the fact that you are a newborn babe, she says. She says, think of that divinity in you. I like this one. And she got a lot of good comments. She says, know that the divinity, the spark of divinity is within you. Cherish it as a woman who is pregnant would cherish a fetus that is growing in her. She nourishes herself. She says, nourish yourself. And in nourishing yourself, you're nourishing that spark of divinity that is within you. Speak lovely things to that spark of divinity, of it and to it, and cherish it, and it will expand and grow. So she says, and I have to leave you with this. This part of it is really important because she said it in such a wonderful way. She says, commit to expanding love in your life. Choose peace, find love. Let love find you. You have to love yourself before you can love others. She says, learn to love and value yourself. You have heard this over and over, but she's going to tell you some things. She says, this woman is now loved and admired by millions of people all over the world. At 102, she is going all over the place, speaking and getting accolades from various academic institutions and social institutions. And as I said to you, her books and lectures and her institutions are treasured legacy to mankind. She summarized her successful life. Love is everything. What is life without love? Laughter, she says, is wonderful. But laughter without love is ridicule. She says, labor without love is drudgery. Listening without love is empty. Love is everything. She says, life and love go together. Creativity and self-expression. When you love life, you become more creative. Life engages you in every creative way that you could think of. She says, laughter with love. Yes, go together. Laughter with love is joy. Labor with love is bliss. Listening with love is empathy. Empathy. Listening with love. Listen attentively. Now I can tell you who this lady is, and you can check it for yourself. She is Dr. Gladys McGarry. You may not have heard her name. I never heard her name before, but when I read her profile, I knew that she is responsible for some of the most fundamental and lasting and significant changes in medicine. She's MD, medical doctor, and doctor of holistic medicine, okay? She first served as a president of the Arizona Board of Homeopathic Medical Examiners and president of the American Holistic Medical Association. She's internationally recognized as a mother of holistic medicine. She is affectionately known, right, as that. And she's board certified in holistic integrative medicine and has had a family practice for more than 60 years. She is the co-founder of the American Holistic Medical Association, as well as the co-founder of the Academy of Parapsychology and Medicine, and she's been making a difference since 1940. She has trained doctors in holistic medicine because she had long believed that doctors should focus on the whole person with a treatment that emphasized prevention through lifestyle changes. And for her, holistic medicine means the art and science of healing that addresses care of the whole person, recognizing the interconnectedness of all aspects, body, mind, emotions, and spirit. And she deals in the centrality of compassionate care in healing relationships. No, this woman turned away from pain and turned toward principle. The love, she didn't say, okay, I'm going to forgive the man or get deep into that. She went within herself and searched to see what was there. And she became indifferent to anything that would cause her to feel less than herself. And she spent the time in herself, bringing out of herself that which was meant to be, which was there all along, which she did not validate because she was not validating herself. And guess what? She became a blessing to the world, a blessing to humanity. She was always that, but she expressed it in ever-widening circles, and she was aware that she was being prepared. Life was preparing her for that. And incidentally, she was asked, she never mentioned her husband at all after that, but the questioner asked her, and she said, oh, incidentally, he died 10 years ago. So he lived a good and full life. She never asked him why he wanted to leave. She never questioned it. She dealt with her own life. And they said, you know, and what happened to him? And he said, he got married to someone who was more submissive. She was being submissive in her own way, and she didn't know, in a different way. But she found her voice. And in finding her voice, she found her true self. That is the story of Gladys McGarry, Dr. Gladys McGarry, which I share with you, and you can see why I identify so strongly with the message that she gave us, right? I didn't ask my husband if he wanted a divorce. I didn't. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Reverend Sonia. I told you. Thank you for reminding me that I am a blessing to this world. Thank you for reminding us that we are each a blessing to this world. And thank you for reminding us that there is good in every situation. And also for reminding us that when we turn to principle, turning within two principles, we find peace, we find joy, we find laughter, and we become purveyors of love. And at this point, let me invite our songbird Carol Campbell for the musical item.
When clouds of fear come sailing near, though the way be dark and long, love endures and hope is strong. Have faith, you'll win. If you would find sweet peace of mind while the storms around you roll, here's the anchor for your soul. Have faith, you'll win. What though the heart be sad today, and you may fear you've lost your way? Hope comes to conquer all despair. Fear leaves when love is near you. The storms will pass, peace comes at last, through the faith that makes you strong. Faith as simple as my song. Have faith, you'll win.
Isn't that beautiful? Not only beautiful voice, but every single word in that message came across clearly and perfectly. Thank you, Carol, and thank you, Maestra Angela. Thank you, thank you. I told her I was going to hide behind here so I wouldn't cry, but I didn't, not this time. Maybe when I listen to it again, I will. Okay, guys, let's stand and say our prayer of Jamaica and say it from our hearts. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island, Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. And our beautiful hymn by a gentleman who has been all over the world and belongs all over the world, Clyde Hoyt, right? And it's o'er Blue Mountain.
And he also wrote the other side. He wrote the first one.
Sorry?
He also wrote the first one. He also wrote Have Faith. He also wrote.
Oh, he wrote Have Faith as well. No, this man is a marvelous, marvelous individual, right? Who we just sing his songs and take it for granted. He wrote Have Faith as well, right? Research him. I think he's a citizen of about 8 countries or something like that. We'll now bless our love offerings. Their affirmative prayer is online and it's also on your envelopes. Lovingly I give, joyfully I receive, be thou fruitful, increase and multiply, bless, prosper and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. So be it. Thank you, Father, and so it is. Oh, and we just give thanks. Our hearts are just so filled with the awareness of the presence of God, the divine, that which is the infinite giver and the infinite bearer. We know it is that which has brought us into expression in this world in a unique and wonderful way, and which lives and gives freely to us, through us. I know it is that which has allowed this service to stream freely through our individual consciousness, but through our collective consciousness. I know it is that which continues to stream through us as we go about our daily lives. It is that which allows us to share freely of ourselves, knowing that that which we call our life is the life of God, giving itself freely to every person we meet and to all mankind. We are grateful for those who have given now of their substance and who continue to give. And we know that they are blessed many times over with riches that go far beyond the money that is in their pockets. It is richness of life in every respect. And everything that is there comes to them easily, effortlessly, peacefully, joyfully, lovingly, and with great fulfillment. These are the words that I speak, the words of God spoken through me. And I know that it is so, and so it is. So it is. And we will sing, Yes, There Is Love, eh?
Yes, there is love on earth, and yes, it begins with
just remind us, right? We have after the service, we are having no, okay, we're taking a break for summer, okay. And but know that on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Reverend John continues to share at 6 a.m. and at 12 noon, Reverend Ann continues to share. So you can tune in on YouTube for her and on Facebook for Reverend John. On Tuesday, we will have our healing service at 6 o'clock as usual. And I think this is the last Sunday. I'm not sure what we are having on Lifeline. You will be advised. And Michael Holgate is coming on Lifeline. You all know Michael Holgate, and if you don't, when you come, you certainly will. Ashe, ashe. Okay, so be there at 6. Prayer power as usual. We will just yield, so we'll come on at 5. And guess what? Come next week at the same time, same place, 9 a.m. for our Sunday services, right? So be there.